Like we were right, it's hit the fan, so let's dive in and talk about it. Hey, everyone, it's Monday Madness. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I think it's the #1 YouTube channel in the world for people who know how to think for themselves and don't just follow along and believe every damn thing they've heard from everyone else, right? I like that we actually talk about stuff, that you guys put your ideas out there and you send them to me, you send them to Uman, you send them to Jolene. It's great. We all come together and then we share it with the world. It's all about sharing, right? Sharing is caring. And the reason I shared that particular intro and disclaimer is because Biden has been trying not to fall down when getting on Marine One and Air Force One lately, and I haven't been commenting on it just because we've had so much more going on. But I thought for the week, let's start out by talking about Biden's bumbling idiocy. Folks, he's not just mentally having some trouble and he's having a bad day. He's having motor skill function issues. He can't walk, right? He's got a hand on everything. They may as well put him in, on a walker or a freaking wheelchair and try for sympathy that way. The guy is a physical mess. He is a mental mess. But, that's the president. We got to stand behind him. Trump tripped once, and the media was all over him. Oh my God, he's not fit for office. And I'm waiting for Biden to fall down the stairs on Air Force One, right? And then would the Democrats fire him? I don't know. Well, get this, folks. Speaking of presidential candidates and presidents, Trump steps up to the microphone without tripping, is able to speak in clear, comprehensible English. And he says that we should be electing school principals. And here's his quote: parents should be able to fire them and expel the communists. Folks, I love the fact that we're now calling them communists because that's what they are. They're flying the Chinese communist flag. They're flying the old Soviet Union communist flag. They're flying the BLM, the gay pride flags, and they are Marxists. They are, folks. So damn straight, they're fired, right? But I doubt that's going to happen. The unions would shit their pants. Now, not every school has union teachers, and they shouldn't. I'll tell you a little story about the K-8 school that I sent my kids to. Teachers were not guaranteed tenure. They weren't allowed to just go to work and then start screwing around. So despite their communist predilections, their desire to be commies and little turncoat scumbag teachers, they had to keep their shit in line. And if they even started to get out of line, guess what? My kids would straighten them out. Their friends would straighten the teachers out and say, And back then, folks, Obama was the president. Kids know better. You give them a chance to speak up and speak their mind, they'll tell teachers where to stuff it. All of these inner city union school teachers that have all the power, and folks, they've been caught time and time again, not only grooming children to be their sex toys, but punishing them physically and psychologically. Parents should be able to fire them. We should be able to fire school principals. We ought to be able to hold impeachment hearings on these stinking school boards. But, what do I know, right? Isn't that a democratic process? Isn't that part of democracy? Being able to vote for those that you think are good for your kids and be able to vote for those who aren't? Isn't that what government's supposed to be? Of the people, by the people, for the people. Isn't that democracy in action? Funny how the Democrats don't want democracy and its principles exercised when it could dethrone them. Still, I think it's a great idea, and I love that Trump is calling them communists. All right, folks, are you prepared? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Do you have a plan? I sure hope you do. Things are getting nasty. Get your questions down below. Get your thoughts and everything else. Get them together, folks. We have got some nasty stuff coming up. You know, I know, we all know, even the media knows. What is going on is just all wrong. Folks, the media is stepping up and calling Joe Biden, the president, out. Calling him out. I mean, folks, a reporter came out and asked Biden to admit to the world that he's a liar. I read that and just went, wow, right? Here's the quote of a reporter who questioned Biden, stopped Biden in his tracks with surprise, because this scandal is real and you gotta love this. He said, here's the quote, "Did you lie about never speaking to Hunter about his business deals?" Right? He just asked him, did you lie? Are you a liar? Are you lying to the American people, right? I think it was fucking amazing, right? Amazing that a reporter would ask that of the president. Jackie Heinrich is the one who said that, who stated that question. Biden said, no. Just like Merrick Garland, right? Are you going to admit, Merrick Garland, that your Department of Justice, your Attorney General's office is, throwing away evidence, disregarding evidence, trashing evidence? Of course, they're not going to admit they're lying, that they're, pissing away their authority, that they're ignoring crime. Now, I want to read to you the quote, the Hunter Biden, his basically threat that was made on social media, a social media message called WhatsApp. Hunter Biden demanded money, and he threatened Henry Zhao, a Chinese Communist Party official. Here's what he said. Here's what Hunter Biden wrote. And it's pretty self-explanatory. He didn't say the big guy. He says, quote, "I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, meaning Zhao, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me," that would be Joe Biden, "and every person he knows," that would be his administration, "and my ability to forever hold a grudge, he's a piece of shit, that you will regret not following my directions. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father." That would be Joe Biden. Twice he mentions his father as his father, not the big guy. And then Hunter got $5 million wired to him from a Chinese corporation. How interesting is that? Folks, the Bidens are in big, big trouble. So I think it was fair for this reporter to ask Joe Biden, did you lie about never speaking to Hunter about his business deals? Right, like Hunter texted that out and didn't tell his dad what he was saying, what he was doing with his business deals. Sounds like pay to play, sounds like graft to me, sounds like Well, whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. In fact, Democrats everywhere around the country during election time say whatever it takes. Lie, cheat, and steal. Truly, folks, crazy. So, in order to go after Biden, to let him know the American people won't stand up for that, the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, Republican out of the state of California, does not threaten to impeach Biden. Why not? Why hasn't he tried to impeach Biden? Other Republicans have put up articles of impeachment. Where's McCarthy? Well, folks, he did this. McCarthy is now, well, he's trial ballooned it. He's done a little trial balloon about impeaching Merrick Garland by July 6th over the IRS whistleblower testimony that he interfered in the Hunter Biden criminal investigation. So he's going to impeach Merrick Garland. But what Joe Biden has done is not impeachable. The evidence isn't strong enough. An IRS whistleblower is testifying about Merrick Garland, and that's okay. That's enough. Someone else's testimony about Merrick Garland is damning evidence, but direct, straight from the horse's ass. That's right, the horse's ass award. Straight from the horse's ass, Hunter Biden himself, saying, my dad and me and my dad, we've got a deal. You better stand up to it. You better pay us the way we want to be paid. You better give us our money. My dad, my dad, my dad. Direct admission that he and his dad are involved in shady business demands, extortion, bribery, whatever. But no, McCarthy doesn't want to impeach the president, Joe Biden. So who should get this horse's ass award? Joe or McCarthy? I think they should share it because they truly are a pair of horses' asses. Gotta love the old horse's ass award. Folks, have you got your questions in? Down below, get them in. If you are on the preparedmind.club or you are on subscribestar.com, all you've got to do is go to one place or the other and you sign up for our premium service. It's $2 a month, folks. Not $2 a show, not $2 a question. $2 a month, and you can show up at every live show Monday through Friday and join me here in the afternoon. Join us all here, all of the great members at the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. Put your questions out there, and we will, folks. We're going to get to it. So, yeah, what about McCarthy, right? Oh, well, you better be careful there, Merrick Garland, or I just might impeach you. Unbelievable, folks. Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe we should cut the president some slack. Folks, you know shit has hit the fan. Bad. When the president of the United States is implicated. Not implicated. He's flat out accused. The evidence is overwhelming that he and his dad are involved in shitty business dealings. And his dad, right, involved in an extortion/bribery scheme, a pay-to-play scheme, while he's vice president of the United States, president of the United States. None of these things are bad? Well, of course not, because, well, there's more to it than you know, folks. On the show The View, that's right, on The View, Hunter Biden's laptop scandal is basically a love story, right? Because Anna Navarro there says, it's the story of a father's love. That's right, folks. What is going on with this laptop scandal and Joe Biden covering for Hunter and Hunter involved with his dad and business dealings? It's about a father's love. Really. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, fathers were being told, you don't get to be a father. You shouldn't be a father. Children don't need fathers. Fathers are bad. Fathers are evil. Fathers are patriarchal. Fathers are terrible human beings to their wives and their children. There shouldn't be any fathers. We don't need fathers anymore. Now, today, committing crimes with your son while holding high office, the highest offices in the land, is about a father's love. That's about as loving as The Sopranos or Goodfellas, right? When it comes to, helping out those who, you've got problems with, right? It's just like it. It's just like The Sopranos and Goodfellas when you talk about the Bidens, bribery schemes, extortion schemes, murder. Yeah, it's just like one of those stories, folks. There's so much going on. I wish we could all talk about the truth openly. Openly, folks. Now, yeehaw. Let's get into it. I hope your questions are down below. We have a lot to talk about, folks. You see, when it hits the fan, what we're dealing with, it's not just a little thing. It's a big thing. These charges that are being levied against the president by me and you, citizens of the United States of America, members of the media who are asking them, are you lying to us? They're huge. The words of Hunter Biden alone are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But they are believable. They're stunning. Folks, you need to call, text, message everyone in Washington, D.C., and you have been. And guess what? It is working. Thank you once again, the audience at the Prepared Mind Network, whether it's YouTube, the preparedmind.club, subscribe, star, BitChute. It doesn't matter. Name one, right? Name any social media, Facebook, you bet, folks. Every single place where we gather, where we get together, where these videos are discussed, you are doing the right thing by calling Washington, texting them, phoning them, messaging them, emailing them, because now the demands are starting. Senator Ted Cruz, folks, a former Republican presidential candidate, so he's not a no-name senator. He is now telling the House, he's urging the House, he's recommending the House that they need to impeach Joe Biden over the investigation and the findings having to do with Hunter and Joe and the rest of the Biden family, all of their pay-to-play, money, extortion, bribery, graft schemes. The demands are starting, folks. It starts with you, though, and me, us at the grassroots, writing a text, writing some comments, sending them off to Washington and saying, look, how obvious it does have to be. It's as plain as the nose on Pinocchio's face. They're lying their asses off. And the media is starting to ask questions, right? We now have senators calling for it. We do have congresspeople calling for impeachment. Yet just the other day, Kevin McCarthy said, now is not the time to talk about impeachment. If not now, when? What, does Biden have to be accused of murdering someone and we actually have evidence of that before, yeah, we'll impeach him? It's that bad, folks. These people are that bad. And thank you, Senator Ted Cruz, for stepping up and once again fighting. Now, again, I will, folks. I will commend and congratulate and thank any politician who does the right thing. And if they fuck up, I'll get all over their ass too. But for Senator Cruz, he is doing a good job. I want him to go all the way. Hey, look, Mr. Cruz, Senator Cruz, if the House impeaches him, will you lead the charge in the Senate for conviction? I don't want to see this get to the Senate and you just sit on your hands and go, well, impeachable, yes, but I don't think we need to indict him and right, find him guilty. Because that's what the Senate does. After an impeachment, they hold a trial and decide whether to convict or acquit. Or they don't have to have a vote at all. But Senator Cruz, man, he's been doing a good job. So how do we know that? Well, he's talked about what he talked about today, and also this.
I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she's required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
That's a good one right there. That's a good one. So let's move from President Biden and his derelict son and brother and family. Now let's talk about his opposite over in Russia. Vladimir Putin, who has been called a ruthless killer, a murderous thug, right? A dictator. Have you heard those terms used of him? He's a dictator, even though Fox News in America ran their little news blip headline at the bottom of the screen and said, right, wannabe dictator Biden. Well, Vladimir Putin is a ruthless killer of his political enemies, right? Everyone except, well, Prigozhin, right? The leader of the Wagner group, the private military contractor, PMC. Why is it that Prigozhin is not being killed? Why is it? You know, isn't Vladimir Putin a ruthless, vicious dictator, murderer? Well, it turns out he must have a heart like a teddy bear, because Prigozhin has been allowed to escape after, well, an attempted coup, according to the mainstream media, according to Western press, according to what all sources outside of Russia. They wanted to believe it so bad, folks. Well, guess what? The CIA, in my opinion, has been trolled. They've been played. Dictator, murderer, and teddy bear at heart. Right? All of a sudden, Vladimir Putin is going to let someone go who has pissed him off. You see, the claim is that Vladimir Putin has his opponents arrested, has their bank accounts canceled, has their property confiscated. Actually, folks, those are the things that Volodymyr Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine, has done. That's what he does. What they accuse Putin of is what Zelensky does do. And not only does he do it to his people, he does it to his political opponents. He silences them and arrests them. And anyone who criticizes him, even church members, Eastern Orthodox, which is like a Russian Catholic, they are screwed over by Zelensky. But we're supposed to say Vladimir Putin's a bad guy, right? As he lets Prigozhin go. If he were, well, let's just put it this way. If Vladimir Putin was the bad guy that they claim he is, if he has murdered his political opponents, how badly do you think he would need to make an example out of Prigozhin, the lead man for the Wagner private military contractor, right? Folks, the CIA has been trolled. Prigozhin is Vladimir Putin's man. I don't know if he's his bitch, but he's his man. I mean, literally, why would a lover of Russia want to overthrow the government, cause chaos, and allow the United States and its Western filth and its filthy allies get into Russia and cause trouble? Crazy stuff, folks. Crazy. Well, you want to know how crazy our enemies are here domestic? We talk about it often, but I want to remind you, you need your food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense. You need to have a plan and understand. Folks, a Democrat state senator, that's right, folks, a state senator in the wildly huge state of Rhode Island has been arrested. It's hilarious too, folks. This Democrat senator, this idiot, was arrested because he decided he was going to take his key to an SUV, another person's car, and key the shit out of it because they had a bumper sticker that said, "Biden sucks." I find this fucking hilarious. Well, the police came and there were witnesses that said this guy did it. Well, he took off his coat, right? And the cop asked him, "Do you change your clothes and take your coat off?" "Well, I took my coat off." right? Everything ended. The guy went home. The police showed up again and said, hey, did you key this? We have, right, video surveillance of you. The guy wouldn't admit it, but he was willing to key somebody's car, right? Cause thousands of dollars in damage. That's right, folks. They'll do that. Democrats are dangerous. They'll destroy property. How about this? Right? At the New York City trans and gay, the LGBTQ parade, well, they violated and assaulted a woman who was holding a placard, a sign that had only 5 words, right? She claimed to be a women's rights activist. So this crowd violated her and assaulted her. And so she was screaming, stop fucking touching me. But the angry mob continued, folks. Can you imagine? I can't imagine walking into a crowd of fruitcakes and having them want to touch me and crowd in against me. That might drive me freaking nuts and freak me out. So yeah, if you do something wrong or say something, they'll key your car. They'll do their best to come after you, me, and others, right, and beat us up. That's how bad they are, folks. That's how bad this whole thing is. Now, let's go back. I can't leave this Russia thing alone. Get your questions down below. We're almost to the point where it's your turn, right? People are really debating. And I wonder what your thoughts are. So I'm going to ask you, what are people debating, right? What happened over in Russia with this Prigozhin and the Wagner group? Right? What happened? Some people say, well, as business intrigue and personal beefs with other Russians. Does that sound believable? That during a war in Ukraine over protecting Russia from Western aggression by NATO, that all of a sudden the Russians would have an issue with one another and they would need to try and remove Putin from office. So is it business intrigue and personal beefs? Or is Prigozhin a CIA stooge who is going to get rid of Obama? I'm sorry, get rid of Putin. Now, I guess that was a Freudian slip. We want to get rid of Obama. He's still serving as president. Anyways, or was this a Russian psyop to help Russia transfer its mercenaries into Belarus, which is, by the way, within striking distance of Kiev, Ukraine? So my vote is that the CIA was duped into the Russian scheme. And the Wagner group was able to, trick the Biden administration into giving him money. That's right. The CIA was duped and Biden funded Russia's mercenary army that is now killing Ukrainian Nazis. And now Prigozhin is off the grid, as he's so-called in exile. He's off the grid, and he may be positioning for a potential strike against Volodymyr Zelensky deep in the heart of Ukraine. And Russia's premier PMC, private military contractor, the Wagner Group, now has a lot of experience the last few months fighting building to building, street to street, and going in and routing out these left-wing lunatics. So if they went in, folks, if they went into Kiev, not only would there be hell to pay, but there's a good chance that Wagner would take the city of Kiev. It would fall, not Moscow. It would fall. Ukraine. Oh, I tell you, folks. Let's do this. Let's get to, folks. It is now time for, you guessed it, the inner circle with you guys and your questions. Bring it on. Let's do it. Let's ask John live. Oh, it just gets better and better and better and better and better and better. What do you guys want to talk about today? What's on your mind, folks, as they dig deeper holes for themselves in Washington and as they dig in Russia for an even harder fight? Name Redacted comes in and he says, maybe McCarthy should take some lessons on how to operate from Hunter. Well, Name Redacted, I'm glad you took this approach to the quandary, the question, the quagmire itself. Why hasn't McCarthy taken action against, well, Joe Biden? Could it be that maybe he has taken lessons from Hunter and that he's shaking them down and saying, hey, I'm not asking for money, but you know what I'm saying? If maybe some money were to end up on this hand here, if maybe I were to get some big juicy financial deal, I could postpone, maybe even indefinitely, right? Impeachment proceedings. Could he already be shaking them down, McCarthy? Not surprising me in the least. Really, not surprising me in the least. Anyways, Name Redacted, I think McCarthy, he's either owned or he is owning someone now. Either way, his vote and his power is up for sale, in my opinion. Allegedly, presumably, but probably up for sale, because you can tell by his actions. How much evidence do you need? How much proof do you need before you start impeaching the president of the United States for treason, for failure to do his job, for not living up to his oath, intentionally keeping the border open, letting illegals in, abandoning our allies in Afghanistan, and every other dirty deed that Biden is associated with? He's an absolutely awful person, right? Now, maybe McCarthy did shake down the Bidens, and maybe they came back, right? The Biden family, and counseled Kevin McCarthy the same way, folks, that the Antichrist Catholic Pope Francis, that's right, folks, the current Pope is anti-Christist. The current Pope is a secular communist. He sent, folks, 2 bishops into the LA area to, well, counsel. Bishop Strickland, right? Just unbelievable, folks. Anyways, the Pope sent 2 bishops to harass Bishop Strickland in LA because he led a march against these satanic sisters of perpetual indulgence. That's these really freaky people who, right, dress as some kind of sick satanic nuns, and the LA Dodgers just invited them in for pride. Unbelievable stuff, folks. Unbelievable. And you want unbelievable? You want SHTF news? I'll give you some more. Biden's Department of Defense, hey, they reported to Congress that they're not going to destroy another balloon. That's right. Is it a spy balloon or not? Well, it's potentially a spy balloon. It's flying over Montana airspace again. Same as the last time where, well, a spy balloon flew over the nuclear missile silos in Montana. The same risk is happening and the same action is being taken. Essentially, hey, China, take all the pictures you want, upload them to your satellite, and we'll shoot your balloon down later when it doesn't matter. What a sellout. Unimaginably crazy, but that's the world we're in. Okay, man, let's do this. Let's do another super chat. It's not a super chat, super question. And we got Mikey G. He says, Biden's been a swamp creature since the early 1970s. Lying is second nature. I'll tell you what, Mikey. And Mikey says, I still think the deep state will delete both of them. Maybe a helicopter crash? Well, let's leave that one up there. I don't think that lying is second nature to the Bidens. I don't think lying is second nature to to Jill or to Joe's brother or to Hunter or to Joe himself. It is first nature. The very first thing they do, it's what they do. Period. They have no problems with it. Now, as far as their expendability, now we're getting into some territory that is interesting. I noted that over the weekend, Hunter Biden went with Joe to Camp David, which is a presidential retreat. It's not like going to Delaware to his beach house. It's a presidential retreat. And at Camp David also, there's Marines and there's other military there. But they're keeping Joe and Hunter very, very close. Now, is Hunter, staying with Joe because Joe wants him close? Or is it because, the deep state, Obama, the banking cartel, are they keeping them close? So if they get rid of one, they get rid of both? Like Mikey says, maybe a helicopter crash. That is pretty believable. I'm wondering if they can keep the shit from flying out of the horse. How many more revelations are there regarding all of the illegality that has been committed by the Biden crime cartel? Now, months ago, I was putting up the Biden crime cartel video, right? The little transition, the little segue piece. And I wonder how many people looked at that and thought, oh, they're not really the crime cartel. Well, Mr. T made that for us back then. What do you think of it now? Are they the crime cartel or not? Are they a bunch of criminals or not? Look at what's going on. Mikey G, a helicopter crash. I don't think that could come fast enough. I just don't think so. It's very, very interesting, folks, how bad these people are. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, let us move on if we shall. Let's see, what do we want to do next? Where are we going now? We're going to Name Redacted. He said it's the story of the RICO Act needed. It's not just for Italians anymore. RICO. Folks, the RICO Act was for racketeering, right? Bribery, extortion, using the power of office, using the power of corporations. That's what the RICO Act was created for, to stop racketeering, rackets, schemes, illegality. Why? How are they not seeing that this is applicable, fully applicable to the Biden clan, the Biden cartel? We may as well call them the Klan, since they supported Ku Klux Klan leader, right? Senator Byrd. I tell you, very stuff. Karine Jean-Pierre, White House spokestwit, literally walked away from the podium when she was asked if Biden told his family to not conduct business on White House grounds. Interesting, huh? The media is starting to ask questions, and instead of answering them, they walk away. Whether it's Karine Jean-Pierre or the Pentagon's John Kirby, who is also a kind of White House mouthpiece, or the president himself. The press is asking the questions. They need to keep asking the questions. They need to push them on it. They need to push them on it, folks. It's not just for Italians. It's not just for the Sopranos, Name Redacted. Of course it's not. It's for everyone who's engaged in committing these crimes. Okay. Now, I've got a surprise for you folks. You want some Monday madness? You want to get it on? I'll tell you about it, man. We talk about Putin, Vladimir Putin of Russia. He's a murderous thug, right? He's a ruthless dictator. He kills all his political enemies. His elections are not real elections. Voldemort Zelensky, folks. the hero of the Democrats, the hero of the Rhino Republicans, the hero of the deep state, the hero of the World Economic Forum, the hero, folks, of the European Central Bank, the hero of NATO, the hero of the European Union in Brussels. He is just a hero of a guy, is he not? He's also the hero of businesses, right? Getting good deals in Ukraine. Well, he has now decided that he will cancel elections next year if they're still at war with Russia. Why would that matter? If all the fighting is being done on new Russian federal property, shall we say, sovereign nations, right? The new Russian Federation states that were once Ukraine territory, they're not now. If the fighting is there, what does Voldemort Zelensky care? What does Voldemort Zelensky care if there's a war? The rest of Ukraine isn't having to fight. Why can't they have elections, folks? Why can't they have elections everywhere else in the country, including Kiev? Well, because Zelensky is a dictator who is arresting his political opponents. He's arresting anybody who criticizes him. He's arresting and confiscating people's money. He's arresting and confiscating and shutting down churches because they might be sympathetic. They just might be sympathetic to the Russian cause. How is that possible, by the way? I mean, if anyone knows how bad Russia is, shouldn't it be the church? The church right there in Ukraine should know exactly how murderous Vladimir Putin is. They should know exactly how ruthless the KGB and the GRU are. They should know that. And you would think that the leaders of the church in Ukraine would be castigating, chastising, excommunicating Vladimir Putin and Russia. Instead, right, it's the other way around. They're condemning and talking trash about Voldemort Zelensky, not Putin. So no wonder they need to be arrested. They need to be silenced. They need to be, just screwed over. Crazy stuff, folks. Crazy world. Oh, by the way, I mentioned that Catholic Pope. I called him an Antichrist Pope because he is a communist or Marxist. Well, he welcomed the artist, folks, to the Vatican. What artist are we talking about? The artist formerly known as Prince? No, that one's dead. This is the artist who took a crucifix and he submerged it in a glass full of piss. That's art. No wonder Hunter Biden can sell art for hundreds of thousands of dollars, because we now know that art is, well, it's putting a depiction of Christ in a cup full of piss. That's how fucked up these people are, folks, and how fucked up the current Pope is. You could call him the anti-Pope, you could call him the Antichrist, because he is anti-Christ. He is anti-goodness. He supports abortion. He supports the LGBTQ crowd. He supports artists who defile, right, sacred images. How would you like that for your spiritual leader? Completely and totally discredits the Catholic Church. Unbelievable. Very sad. Very sad, because there's so much good that can come out of a church, right, if it's about what a church should be about. Woo! I tell you, what a show today. I know I'm going through it fast, because I've been known to go long on my discussions, on Mondays, because we come off the weekend. There's just an awful lot to talk about. And here we are, as usual, all kinds of stuff going on. All kinds of things going on. Let us do this. Mr. Ooman, I think you've got something I want to hear about. Are we ready for it, or shall I roll with my stuff? We're going to go with Ooman. He's got his own stuff. He said, heard on the radio that Rachel Levine, folks, Rachel Levine is it's got some kind of military rank and uniform. Rachel Levine is the trans leader of, I think, the Housing and Urban HUD, part of HUD, Health and Human Services. Sorry about that. He's like the Surgeon General of Health and Human Services. Rachel Levine declared that, quote, "This is not just Pride Month, but the summer of Pride. It's not just 1 month. It's not just 30 days. It's now the summer of Pride." How marvelous that we've increased the celebration of anal debauchery and genital mutilation and the transfixing on children, the sexual projections of these perverts, right? It's not just 1 day out of the year like the rest of everyone else's holidays. It's not just 1 month. Now Rachel Levine, trans fruitcake, is saying it's the summer of Pride. Is that like the summer of love in 2020 when it was the opposite of love? I'll tell you what, I think the month of Pride, Pride Month, the summer of Pride is actually about shame. These left-wingers, folks, these Marxist anal fruitcakes, they are ashamed of themselves. Psychologically, they're ashamed. Let me explain. If they had pride, would they need to go in front of everybody for an entire month, much less an entire summer, and have everybody yell, "Yay, we're so proud of you"? If they had pride, pride is something you have in yourself. Pride is something you have in who you are and what you've accomplished. What have these pride fruitcakes accomplished, folks? They've managed to bend over and let someone else stick it to them. They've managed to infiltrate schools and go after children. That's about the only thing they've done, and neither of those folks are commendable. So they are ashamed of themselves, and they know what they're doing is wrong, and what they're asking for is wrong, and that their lifestyles aren't really good. They're rather kind of dirty. And so they have Pride Month. Not just a day, not a weekend, a month. And now the highest ranking fruitcake, Rachel Levine, says it's the summer of Pride. I wonder, what was that she higher than the other she, Sam Brinton, who was stealing women's luggage to the tune of thousands of dollars? Grand theft, fruitcake, right? Who's been arrested 3 times now, was a fugitive from law. Was that person higher up as part of the Biden administration than Rachel Levine? Wow, I'm so proud of this country for bringing these ding-dongs in here. Thank you, Uman, for bringing that one up. Uman says, wow, had to take tranny out of that because YouTube censored it. Well. Transsexual, I think. Isn't that what we're supposed to describe Rachel Levine as? Well, because he wants to be a woman, so aren't we supposed to call him a transsexual? Well, folks, these trannies have gone over the edge. They really have. They've gone around the world. They've left Earth's orbit, and now, folks, now Disney wants to put a tranny in Star Wars. That's right, folks. The next Star Wars products are going to have transsexuals because we haven't had enough of that. It'll be yet one more Disney production that is failed big time. They're going to destroy, folks, the Star Wars franchise. In fact, a box office movie analyst claims that Disney has squandered, pissed away $890 million on its last 8 movie or cartoon creations, including The Little Mermaid and Elemental, which were both woke failures. Woke failures. Unbelievable, man. Just crazy. Keep bringing it on. Keep exposing the world, folks. Disney, corporations, keep exposing the world to these idiots. And as we continue to reject them, and as you and I and every good American, every moral American, every cis and cisgendered American, as we continue to reject and then boycott them, they're going to learn their lessons, right? Already, the National Hockey League now has said, no more pride jerseys during warm-up, pissing the fans off, but we're going to say we need to not confuse our people in the stands. No, I think that they are getting booed, they're being jeered, they're being made fun of, they're being, well, let's just call it satire, right? Satire. Yeah, they need to be laughed at. They do, and they don't like it. If they had pride, why would they care if people were laughing? If they had real pride, it wouldn't bother them. But they've got fake pride. They've actually got shame. And now they want not just a day, not just a month. Now they want the whole summer of love, the summer of pride. What a bunch of wackos. And they're going to fail, folks. Keep fighting them and fighting for children. Because that's what we're doing. Fighting for our children. Okay, Mr. Uman, who do we have next? What do we have? What do we have? We got name redacted. Oh my goodness. He says, John, the Titanic USA is going down. There's no saving it. There's no reversing it. Are you going to have a lifeboat or a piece of debris in the water? Or are you just going to drown at this point? I'll tell you what. Yeah. Are you going to grab onto a piece of debris? Or are you going to have a lifeboat? Are you going to be prepared? Or are you going to count on government? Right? Now, a lot of people, folks, are just going to drown. They aren't going to have any choice. They're going to be in a situation where they don't have any food or water or anything saved up. The government in whatever area they're in is not going to come to their rescue, whether it's the hood or just a bad neighborhood or whether it's a good neighborhood, but it's just too hard to get things there. This good ship lollipop, the Titanic, is going down. Now, you and I, folks, we've done the best we can to make a lifeboat out of this. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Putting yourselves in places around the country where you have some say over your local government. And I'll tell you what, if things get really nasty and bad, what you have to say is going to matter a whole lot more. Because I think it'll be torches and pitchforks, rifles and shotguns at City Hall and at the county courthouse and everywhere else where people show up and go, enough of this bullshit. Enough already. We're done. You are removed from office, right? Last thing you need is a moron operating the tiller and oars in your lifeboat and rowing back to the iceberg to hit it again and again and again and sink your life raft. Are you going to trust a government that says, hey, all of you preppers, hand your food over because, the government's going to redistribute it? My ass. That's not what they're about at all. No siree, Bob. Right? So either you folks, you rely on yourself and build a lifeboat, or you get lucky and hang on to a little piece of debris as you try not to drown or freeze to death because the government is giving you just enough to subsist. Or are you going to drown because where you're at is just way too far left? Way too far left. You never know. Well, you should know. You should have a good idea, I think. I have a good idea where I'm at, how things are going to go. I have my resources all lined up. Right? I do. Unbelievable. Just crazy stuff, folks. Now, Representative Republican Comer, who's the House Judiciary Committee, he was on Newsmax, and he said that there are going to be even more Hunter Biden wires, communications, etc., that are going to be released. And he says this: the Biden family has, quote, has received millions from our adversaries And they can't explain what they did to produce that money. Let me repeat that again. Representative Comer, who is head of the Republican Judiciary Committee, said that the Biden family, that means Joe, Hunter, Joe's brother, Joe's wife, everybody, has received millions from our adversaries, meaning the nation's enemies. Who is that? I don't know, China, Russia. Remember, folks, Hunter Biden got, what was it, $1 million from the mayor of Moscow. The wife of the mayor of Moscow just found it within her good nature, her heart, to give Hunter Biden $1 million. So yeah, he's received millions from the adversaries of America, the enemies of America. And the Bidens can't explain how they got the money or what. But we're supposed to believe that Putin is going to fall, that Putin is bad. I tell you, folks, we got a shit show and a half. A shit show and a half. And it's playing right now. And I want to remind everyone again, I discussed this morning, but the Ukraine situation is deteriorating. The Wagner group is no longer in Russia. Apparently, they've been moved into Belarus, to the north of Kiev, where they can move very close to the border of Ukraine. The situation in Ukraine is falling apart very quickly. They've gotten their asses kicked, the Ukraine military, thinking they were going to win. Instead, they got destroyed or abandoned the tanks and other vehicles the U.S. has given them. Right? China is making moves. China is making moves on Taiwan. North Korea, they're failing in their talks with South Korea. Biden is doing nothing over the conflict that is growing in tension and pressure on the Korean Peninsula. Right? It's a dangerous, dangerous world, folks. And Biden, the administration, the Pentagon are increasingly showing us that they are failing us and that national security is being abandoned and that we, the people, are being abandoned and our allies are being abandoned. That's right, our allies are being abandoned. Those who were doing business with us just a few years ago. India, for example. India was a huge ally. Now they're all buddied up with China and Russia and Brazil. It is a very dangerous world. And Russia is now set to test, if they wish, a nuclear-tipped, totally autonomous drone torpedo, right? It may be imminent. It could be happening anytime now. This test is coming, folks. And I might say this to you. It seems like maybe you and I are going to be tested as well. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Are you prepared for what's coming? Do you think you can withstand the troubles? Now, you and I don't have to deal with China, at least not initially, or Russia. We're going to have to deal with that 10-mile radius around us, the people that live in that. That's where we've got our trouble, folks. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi. God bless America.